Bitcoin update. Price is the best indicator and it will tell you everything you need to know, but you just need to know how to interpret the price so you know what information it's telling you. So if you like today's video, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Let's dive straight into Bitcoin. Right, with Bitcoin, we've had the CPI information and it's very, very valuable. So the consumer price index, we saw the one in September, we had a reversal to the downside. We had one in October, we had a movement to the upside. Now, prior to the 10th of November, we had a big movement to the downside. So the big question that I have is this low going to hold? And are we going to get a reversal to the upside and a continuation and break this high over here? Or are we going to get a lower low? Now, we don't know. That's the key. But we're going to let the price information tell us because there's some buying and selling behavior, the bulls and the bears, and we can just read the information. So before we do anything, let's just look at what information we have at hand. So if you're familiar with indicators, it measures rate of change. And my favorite by far is something called the stochastics RSI. And the blue line on the daily chart, this is the daily Bitcoin chart, by the way, is above the red. Now, I've got my trend signal identifier down here, something that I built. And the weekly momentum is bearish, but the daily momentum is bullish, right? And we want to take that into consideration. So it's in a bit of limbo where the upper degree trend is down, but the immediate trend on the daily chart is up. So what I'm going to do now is going to drop down to an hourly chart, and it gives us some valuable information. And by the way, if you want access to this chart as well, with the CPI information exactly as is, you can now download it for free. It's in the description link below. You'll see we have Bitcoin and a few other coins as well. And you'll get the latest chart analysis that I've done for free, because I know it's sometimes difficult to do the analysis when you're first starting out. So let's now jump into an hourly chart. Right, I keep that in the bottom right-hand corner. And the key thing I want to take into account is really the pattern position. So what you want to know is markets tend to move in 5s and 3s. And around 50-60% of the time, the patterns are relatively clear. So with the CPI announcement that happened on the 10th of November, we had this low. This was where the CPI announcement happened. And we had this nice movement to the upside, what looks like to be an impulsive 5-wave structure. Now, normally after a 5-wave structure, you'll typically get some type of correction. This looked like the correction, but we've had another low over here. So the key piece of information is when you have a 5-wave move to the upside, a typical maximum correction is something called 78.6% retracement. And we're at that range over here. So at the beginning, I said, let the price tell us what the market is going to do. So there's really two things, really two outcomes that are going to occur, right? And that's going to tell me where I should be betting on the long side or on the short side. So one outcome is we're going to get a swing high exceeded. So the price will exceed a swing high over here. And that tells us that this low is likely to hold. So that's one outcome. And that price tells us that the bulls are back in town and that's showing some strength. The second scenario that's going to play out, or likely to play out, is that this low does in fact get exceeded. Like we break this low over here, and then this no longer counts, and then we're looking for further downside movement. So right now, as of this moment, we don't know. So this is like a stand aside. Let the price tell us what's happening. So again, two conditions. If one of these swing highs, especially this one over here, gets exceeded, then we go right now, let's look for long opportunities on the first pullback. If this low gets exceeded, then it's like, okay, let's stand aside further. Let's give it a few more days until we get some clear pattern position. So with Bitcoin right now, it's in a bit of limbo. It's not that clear. So when I see these kind of pattern positions, just stand aside. Just stand aside. There's no rush. We go, right, let the market tell us. And when the trend is much clearer, then we can pounce on the market and then really, really double down. By the way, if you want to join my private community, I would love to have you as one of my students. But as long as you're dedicated to learning, you can now actually take my 4 Secrets masterclass. It's really the gateway to learning more about how I teach, what I teach. And if you like it, you can buy the courses. It's really the 4 secrets. And we're talking about pattern position, momentum, how to identify it in a logical, mechanical manner, price ratios, as well as one other factor as well. All right, so there you have it. So if you like today's video, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Short, sharp, and sweet. Let the price talk to us and tell us what's happening so we know when to go long in terms of buying, when to short, which is selling, and when to stand aside. And right now, it's stand aside, let the market dictate what's likely to happen next. I'm going to read a quote from my book, which you can now also download for free. It's in the description link below. Chapter number 5, one of my favorite quotes, it's Leonardo da Vinci. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, right? Trading is actually simple but hard, or hard but not simple, right? In the sense of once you get the mechanics right, it's quite simple. What makes it difficult is the emotion, the noise, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, the FOMO, the panic buying, the fear of being wrong, So I like to keep things really, really simple, hence the 4 secrets. But right now with Bitcoin, keeping it simple is like, right, it's not very clear what's likely to happen next. Let's get a breakout to the upside and then wait for a pullback. Or if we get a breakout to the downside, then we can just reevaluate and see what's likely to happen next, so we don't need to get too emotionally involved.